2005, Airbus introduced the A380, the world's first double-decker aircraft with cutting-edge technologies. Its main purpose was to challenge the incredibly successful Boeing 747. Yet, just a few decades later, in 2019, Airbus ceased all production, making the whole project a multi-billion-dollar loss. So what went wrong? At the start of the 21st century, there were two major philosophies on how air travel would work. Hub and spoke, where smaller airports were linked to major hubs. Passengers would then fly massive planes, like the 747 or A380, between these spokes, transfer through the hubs and onto their final destination. The other philosophy was point-to-point. Passengers would instead board flights directly to their destination. This method, which eventually preferred by the passengers, required smaller aircraft. Smaller aircraft also proved more useful between heavy traffic areas, as the airlines could operate with more frequency, giving passengers greater choice. Even though Airbus's studies had shown that hub and spoke was going to be the travel method of the future, they were wrong. This meant that the A380 quickly struggled to find customers for such a giant aircraft. But that wasn't the only issue. Due to the A380's massive size, airport infrastructure had to be modified exclusively for it. Runways had to be widened, ramps strengthened, and jet bridges that reached a second floor had to be constructed. In other words, the infrastructure required greatly limited where this aircraft could fly. Airbus is also a European organization, meaning that when creating the A380, different parts were created in different areas of the continent. However, when production came to an end, they all had to be brought together in France to be constructed. This became a logistical nightmare, with the road closures being needed daily to bring some of the massive parts. At this point, the A380 was already in a deep struggle, but the tipping point was when Boeing introduced the 787. The 787 perfectly matched the point-to-point travel method, meaning airlines began buying it instead of the A380. With so many problems and no profit margin, Airbus had no choice but to cease construction.